1. We're looking at a really interesting 1969 Ford F-250 Camper Special that's popped up on Craigslist for $10,000. Let me give you the honest scoop on this classic pickup. Listen, I've got to be straight with you. This is currently a non-running project truck. The seller's being totally upfront about it. The 428 engine that replaced the original 360 is partially dismantled after a camshaft failure on its first run. That's a significant issue that'll need professional machine shop attention. But here's why this truck is still worth talking about. It's got 25 years of single-owner history and some serious upgraded components. We're talking a Dana 60 rear end with 3.54 gears and traction lock that's been professionally overhauled, an upgraded Bendix power steering box, and disc brakes. Those Stan's ceramic Tri-E headers aren't cheap either. The body's wearing mostly original orange paint, which is pretty remarkable for a 69. Yes, there's some rust, as you'd expect from a 50-plus-year-old truck, and there's evidence of an old repair on one bed side. The interior's been refreshed with newer upholstery and carpet, though it shows normal wear. At $10,000, you're buying potential here, folks. The seller's including all the spare parts they've collected over 25 years, which could be gold for the right buyer. It's not a turnkey truck. You'll need that trailer the seller mentioned. But for someone looking to restore a solid F-250 Camper Special, this could be a worthwhile project with good bones. 2. We're checking out this 1984 Dodge Power Ram 4X4 that's caught my eye, listed at $15,000. Let me tell you, finding a clean, rust-free example of these trucks is getting harder every year. What we've got here is a California-born short bed with its original 318 V8 and automatic transmission. The seller's being straightforward. It's not a perfect show truck, but it's an honest, solid survivor. Being a California truck explains the rust-free body, which is a huge deal for these old Dodges that typically rust out in less forgiving climates. The blue paint appears to be holding up well, and that period-correct topper adds both style and functionality. With the odometer showing 20,000 rolled over, this truck's got some miles on it, but these 318S are known to run forever when maintained properly. Factory air conditioning, power steering, and power brakes make this a comfortable daily driver rather than just a weekend warrior. The 4X4 system means you've got capability when you need it, and these old Power Rams are becoming increasingly collectible. At $15,000, you're buying into a piece of American truck history that's getting harder to find in this condition. It's not the cheapest '84 Power Ram you'll find, but finding another rust-free running and driving example might take you a while. 3. We're diving into something special. A 1969 Chevrolet El Camino that's just popped up for $28,000. Let me break down this business in front, party in back classic for you. This El Camino's had some serious love thrown at it, folks. The seller, Chuck, has given this car-truck hybrid a proper overhaul with a rebuilt 350 engine and transmission combo. And when I say overhaul, I mean they went all in. We're talking about an Edelbrock manifold and carb setup that's sure to give this beauty some extra punch. The interior is basically all new. Fresh bucket seats, door panels, headliner, dash pad, and even a new steering wheel. That's a big deal because finding clean interior parts for these old El Caminos can be a real headache. The power disc brake conversion is a smart upgrade that brings some modern stopping power to this classic. They've done the suspension work too, with new upper and lower A-frames, and it's sitting on a staggered tire setup. 235S up front and Meteor 265S in the rear, giving it that perfect stance. The bed's got an aluminum frame cover wrapped in black vinyl, adding some practicality while keeping it looking clean. At $28,000, you're looking at a turnkey El Camino that's been thoughtfully upgraded while maintaining its classic character. The seller says it runs and drives great, and with all these fresh components, I'm inclined to believe it. 4. We're looking at something really special. A 1963 GMC C10 Fleetside that's popped up on Craigslist for $18,500. And let me tell you, this one's got a story to tell. First off, we're looking at a California truck that's undergone a frame-off restoration. And that's huge because it means absolutely no rust anywhere. The seller's being completely honest about it being 99% complete, with just some finishing touches needed. It's currently wearing fresh gray paint that just needs a final buff and polish to really shine. Now let's talk about what's under the hood. This isn't your typical C10. We're looking at a monster Chevy 454 big block with an Edelbrock carb and Hay ignition, backed by a TH400 transmission. That's some serious muscle. The truck's been modernized with power disc brakes all around, CPP power steering, and it's sitting pretty on lowering springs and spindles with 6 lug wheels. The bed is something special too. We're talking brand new solid oak, which is a beautiful touch on these classics. The interior needs some final electrical work, and the side windows need to be installed, but it comes with new seat covers, floor covering, door moldings, original windshield, and new rear glass. Here's the bittersweet part. The current owner's health issues are forcing the sale before he can complete his vision. At $18,500, considering the frame-off restoration, that big block engine, and all the modern upgrades, you're getting a lot of truck for the money. 5. We're checking out this 1985 Dodge Ram Charger Prospector that's up for grabs at $6,000. And let me give you the honest scoop on this classic SUV. Look, I've got to be upfront here. This isn't a perfect vehicle, but that's reflected in the price. The seller's being transparent about the issues. There's a leaking rear transmission seal that'll need attention, and there's some rust creeping into the rocker panels. But here's why this Ram Charger is still interesting. You're getting the desirable Prospector package with the robust 5.9L 360 V8 engine, which the seller says is running strong. The driveline's solid, and it's sitting pretty on a suspension lift with 35-inch Mickey Thompson tires that apparently still have plenty of life left in them. That's some serious rubber, folks. At 88,000 miles on the odometer, this old Dodge still has plenty of life left, especially with that bulletproof 360 under the hood. These Ram Chargers are getting harder to find, particularly the Prospector package models, and they're developing a real following in the classic 4x4 community. For $6,000, you're looking at a project that needs some love but isn't a basket case. The transmission seal is a fixable issue, and if you can catch that rocker panel rust before it spreads, you could have yourself a solid classic 4x4. 6. We're looking at something truly special. A 1980 Ford F350 that's popped up in Reno for $27,000. And let me tell you, this is one rare bird. This is one of those time capsule finds that'll make Ford truck fans weak in the knees. We're looking at what the seller claims is a factory-lifted F350 with the robust 400 V8 under the hood. What makes this truck particularly interesting is its remarkable preservation. No rust. Thank you, Nevada climate. And it's sporting its original brown paint that still looks impressive. At 144,000 miles, this big Ford's got some miles under its belt, but these trucks were built to last. It's got some nice features, including dual fuel tanks, super handy for those long hauls, and it's sitting on fresh rims and tires. The seller emphasizes this is a factory lift, not a backyard modification, which is a huge plus for collectors and enthusiasts. Now, $27,000 might seem steep, but here's the thing. Finding an F350 from this era in this condition, especially with a factory lift, is like finding a needle in a haystack. These trucks are indeed going up in value, particularly original, well-preserved examples like this one. The seller's pretty adamant about serious buyers only and no emails or texts. Old-school phone calls only, which kind of fits the character of this classic truck. 7. We're looking at something really special. A one-family-owned 1960 GMC C10 short bed stepside that's up for $13,000. Let me tell you why this pig-nosed beauty is worth your attention. First off, this is a genuine California farm truck with an amazing family history, originally purchased new in Linden, California. What makes this truck particularly interesting is its rare pig-nose hood design. You just don't see many of these still on the road today. The current setup is pretty impressive. It's running a new Crate V8 from Summit Racing, paired with a TH70 transmission. The upgrades list is substantial. We're talking disc brake conversion, modern alternator, B&M mega shifter, and even a switchable exhaust system that lets you choose between neighbor-friendly and wake-the-dead modes. The interior's been refreshed with new carpet and a reupholstered blue and white vinyl bench seat. Now, let's be honest about the issues because transparency matters. The fuel gauge is inoperative. The locks need work. There's a gas smell when the tank's overfilled, likely due to the original tank, and the horn's not working. The paint shows its age and there are some dents from its working life, but hey, that's character. At $13,000, considering the documented history, recent mechanical upgrades with receipts, and the rarity of this pig nose model, you're looking at a turnkey classic that's both drivable and improvable. Plus, it comes with extras like the original service manuals, removable bed rails, and a spare tire. 8. We're checking out a sweet 1984 Chevy C10 that's listed for $15,000, and this one's got a heartwarming father-daughter build story behind it. This C10's had a proper frame-off restoration that started in 2018, and let me break down what we're looking at here. The previous owner handled the body and paintwork, laying down that clean white finish. Then this father-daughter team took over, tackling the complete rewiring, which is huge, no more dealing with crusty old 80s electronics, and putting everything back together. Under the hood, you've got the tried-and-true 350 V8 paired with a TH 350 transmission, a bulletproof combination that's easy to maintain and modify. The stance is just right with a 2-inch drop front and rear, and they've installed new front suspension components to keep it handling properly. The upgrades list is impressive. New interior throughout, modern fuel cell and pumps, fresh brake components. This isn't just a pretty face, folks. The seller's honest about it needing a little to finish, but they're quick to point out that everything's there for completion. At $15,000, you're getting a nearly complete frame-off restoration with modern reliability upgrades. These square-body C10s are hot in the market right now, and finding one that's had this level of attention is getting harder. 9. We're looking at something truly unique, a 1975 Ford F100 that's got a wild twist under the hood. For $6,500, you're not just getting any old F100. This is probably one of the most interesting engine swaps I've seen in a while. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. This truck is running a 5-cylinder diesel engine from a 1986 Mercedes-Benz wagon. Yes, you heard that right. It's one of those builds that makes you do a double take, and I absolutely love it. The seller says it was their daily driver, which speaks volumes about the reliability of this unusual combination. With 33,000 miles showing on the odometer and getting 15, 20 mpg. This could be a practical classic if you're into unique builds. The blue paint looks decent in the photos, and the body appears to be in good shape for its age. Now let's be honest about the downsides. There's no power steering currently, which means you'll be getting an arm workout in parking lots. The seller mentions you could add power steering assist if you want, as the original unit was non-functional when they got the body. At $6,500, you're getting a conversation starter that's also practical. It's not every day you find a classic American truck with German diesel power. This is for someone who appreciates something different and isn't afraid of explaining their unique ride at every gas station stop. 10. We're looking at a 1969 Ford F250 Custom Cab Camper Special that's listed for $7,500, and I've got to give you the straight scoop on this piece of Detroit steel. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. This truck has a salvage title due to a theft recovery from years ago. That's something you'll need to consider, especially if you ever plan to resell it, as salvage titles can affect value and insurance. But here's why this truck is still interesting. It's packing the robust 390 V8, which is known for being a torque monster. These Camper Special F250S were built extra tough to handle the weight of slide-in campers, so they make great workhorses even today. The seller says it runs great with plenty of power, which isn't surprising for these 390 equipped trucks. With 78,000 miles showing on the odometer and wearing what appears to be blue paint, this custom cab represents a piece of Ford's tough truck heritage. The custom cab trim level means it came with some extra comfort features that weren't standard on base models. At $7,500, the salvage title definitely impacts the price. But if you're looking for a classic work truck with some muscle that you plan to keep and use rather than flip, this could be worth checking out. 11. We're checking out a seriously clean 1981 Chevy C10 Shortbox Stepside That's up for $17,000, and let me tell you why this square body deserves your attention. This C10's got the classic performance combination, a 350 V8 with some go-fast goodies under the hood, backed by an automatic transmission. The seller's clearly been detail-oriented, mentioning they've cleaned it down to using Q-tips and toothbrushes. That's the kind of ownership you want to see. Let's talk about recent investments. We're looking at brand new Michelin tires with 70,000 mile warranty, and $800 plus investment with just 25 miles on them, sitting on classic Krager SS mag wheels that perfectly nail that muscle truck look. The truck's just had $1,200 in mechanical work, including a carburetor rebuild, new radiator, top plate, and a fresh interstate battery. The details are what make this truck special. Dual side dump exhaust for that perfect muscle car sound, chrome work under the hood, a sliding rear window, wood bed, tonneau cover, and a Sirius stereo setup. The odometer shows 17,705 miles, and yes, it's rolled over, but the condition speaks for itself. At $17,000, you're getting a well-maintained square body with recent significant investments in both performance and reliability. These trucks are only getting more popular, and finding one that's been this well cared for is getting harder. 12. We're looking at a 1979 Chevy C10 short bed that's listed for $7,000, and I'm going to give you the straight scoop on this project truck. Let's be honest right up front. This is a driver-quality project truck with some cool mods, but also some issues that need addressing. The seller's being transparent about its condition, which I appreciate. It's running the classic 350 engine and transmission combo with a floor shifter, which is always a fun setup in these trucks. The truck's been lowered and sits on 18-inch Boss wheels, and it's got front disc brakes, both solid upgrades. Now here's where it gets interesting. It's got shaved doors with poppers, but the remotes aren't currently working. Probably just needs new batteries. The paint job is rattle can black, so don't expect show quality finish here. Some immediate needs. The door and window seals need replacement, which is pretty common for these old squares. The odometer shows 47,692 miles, but like most classics of this age, that number's anybody's guess. At $7,000, you're getting a running and driving C10 that could be a fun project to gradually improve while still being able to cruise it. It's not a show truck, and it doesn't pretend to be. It's an honest, square body that needs some love but has good bones. 13. We're checking out a 1984 Chevrolet El Camino that's listed for $13,500. And let me give you the honest breakdown of this business in front, party in back classic. The seller's being refreshingly transparent here, so let's dive into what we're looking at. This El Camino's running a V6 engine showing just under 35,000 miles, though there's some uncertainty about whether those are original miles. The powertrain's reportedly running strong, and it's been serving as a weekend cruiser. Here's what's good. The interior's in solid shape, rated 8 out of 10 by the seller, and it's got some modern touches like a loud sound system and red LED interior lighting. The wheels and tires are in great condition with almost new rubber. Plus, the front suspension has been completely redone by the current owner. That's a big plus for drivability. Now, let's be honest about the challenges. The paint's only rated 5 out of 10 and needs a repaint. There are some cosmetic issues, which is expected for a 40-year-old vehicle. It'll need a catalytic converter to stay legal, but it's tagged through 2026. One interesting note, it's never been cut for hydraulics and remains stock, which is becoming increasingly rare for these cars. The seller appears to be the third owner and has had it for about 2 years. At $13,500, you're getting a solid driver-quality El Camino that needs some cosmetic love but has good bones and recent mechanical work. 14. We're looking at a seriously clean 1978 Ford Bronco XLT that's listed for $15,000, and this one's got some real substance behind it. This Bronco's been with the current owner for nearly a decade, and it shows all the signs of careful maintenance. Under the hood, you've got the robust 400M engine paired with the bulletproof C6 automatic transmission. The drivetrain is serious business, with a high-pinion Dana 44 up front, Ford 9 inches rear, and an NP 205 transfer case. That's the heavy-duty stuff you want in these classics. The seller's gone through this truck thoroughly. New brake components all around, fresh ignition parts, new U-joints, dual exhaust with new mufflers, rebuilt front end, new locking hubs, and a fresh Motorcraft carburetor. It's sitting on three 1X10.50-15 BFG mud terrains mounted on Centerline Racing aluminum wheels, and it's got receiver hitches front and rear for versatility. What's really impressive is this is still wearing its original orange paint with minimal rust. Pretty remarkable for a Colorado truck. The interior's been well preserved with excellent seats, especially the rear, and it's got some modern touches like a Kenwood Bluetooth stereo playing through marine-grade speakers. At $15,000, considering the mechanical investment, solid maintenance history, and the fact it came from the original family before the current owner, you're looking at a well-sorted classic Bronco that's ready to hit the trails or cruise the streets. 15. We're checking out a pretty rare bird, a 1983 Ford F354 X4 Dually that's listed for $9,500. And let me tell you why this one's special. First off, finding a 4X4 Dually from this era in decent condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. This one's packing the reliable 351 V8 paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. That's the kind of bulletproof combo you want in a work truck. The seller's been using it for hauling wood, mentioning it'll handle a full cord without breaking a sweat. What makes this truck particularly interesting is the Tommy gate. That's a hydraulic lift gate for those who don't know. And according to the seller, it's working properly, which is a huge plus because these can be expensive to fix when they go bad. In the 2.5 years of current ownership, they've done some interior work and replaced the carburetor, showing it's been maintained rather than neglected. The blue paint appears to be holding up well for a nearly 40-year-old work truck. At $9,500, or best offer, you're looking at a capable workhorse that combines the rare 4X4 Dually configuration with useful features like the Tommy gate. These trucks are getting harder to find, especially in working condition. 16. We're looking at a 1981 GMC Jimmy that's listed for $4,000. And let me be crystal clear right from the start. This is a roller with no engine. Now, before you scroll past, here's why this Jimmy might still be interesting. The seller's offering what appears to be a solid foundation for a project build. We're talking about a rust-free body, which is getting harder to find on these old rigs, and some decent drivetrain components, including a 700R4 transmission and an NP208 transfer case. They've also upgraded the rear axles and front hubs, which are nice improvements for anyone planning a build. The odometer shows 100K miles rolled over, but without an engine, that's mostly relevant for the chassis and bodywear. Speaking of the body, it's straight and clean, a huge plus for anyone looking to build their dream Jimmy without having to deal with extensive rust repair. At $4,000, you're basically buying a blank canvas with some good bones. This is strictly for someone who's got an engine in mind and wants to build their Jimmy exactly how they want it. It's not for someone looking for a running project. This is a bring-your-own-engine situation. 17. We're checking out a sweet 1967 Ford F250 that's listed for $17,000, and this one's got some real charm to it. What we've got here is a classic F250 running the legendary 390 V8 engine. That's Ford's big block powerhouse that was known for its torque and reliability. Paired with an automatic transmission, this setup was built to last, and apparently it's still proving that point by being reliable enough for daily driver duty. The odometer's showing 32,683 miles, and while we can't verify if those are original miles on a truck this age, what matters more is that the seller's been using it regularly, which is often better for these old trucks than sitting idle. They've added some modern convenience with a Pioneer sound system featuring Bluetooth connectivity, so you can cruise in vintage style while enjoying your modern playlist. The truck appears to be clean inside and out, and the seller claims it's mechanically sound with no immediate needs. It's got a bed liner, though it could use some touch-up work. Hey, at least they're honest about it. At $17,000, or best offer, you're looking at a classic F250 that's ready to drive rather than a project that needs extensive work. These old Fords are getting harder to find in driver quality condition, especially with the desirable 390 V8. 18. We're looking at a seriously built 1963 Chevy that's listed for $20,000. And folks, this is no ordinary classic truck. This is a purpose-built monster. Let me break down this beast for you. Under the hood, we're talking about a Gen 6 454 that's been bored out to 460 cubic inches, and the build list is impressive. It's running a ZZ 502 camshaft, AFR 325cc aluminum heads, and an Edelbrock intake manifold. The valve train's been beefed up with CompCam's 1.7 ratio rockers and ARP head studs. This thing means business. The fuel system's been completely upgraded with an inline pump, dual filters, and a Magna fuel pressure regulator. Power gets to the ground through a modern 6L80E transmission with a 3200 stall converter and an aluminum drive shaft. The cooling system's serious too, with a 40K trans cooler to keep temperatures in check. The exhaust system is properly done with hooker headers flowing into a 3-inch mandrel bent system with ceramic coating and V-band connections. That's the good stuff, folks. They've also replaced all the crucial components: new tires, fresh brake system including lines and drums, new radiator, and all new wiring, including a modern ECU harness and drive-by-wire pedal. At $20,000, you're getting a professionally built hot rod truck with modern reliability upgrades. This isn't your grandfather's work truck. It's a tire-shredding street machine with classic looks. 1958 GMC 1500, a true American classic that's ready to roll. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is automotive history. This 1958 GMC 1500 step-side pickup is the real deal. A genuine piece of American workmanship from the golden era of trucks. At $24,500, you're looking at a seriously clean example of GMC's finest. This deluxe model features that highly desirable big back window that collectors go crazy for. The white exterior with red trim is absolutely stunning. And as the seller notes, the pictures don't even do it justice. Under the hood, you've got that powerful 336 Pontiac Vivate paired with a turbo 4-speed automatic transmission that's ready to cruise. Everything works as it should. All lights functioning, and it starts, runs, drives well, with no disappointments, hidden damage, or surprises. The odometer has rolled over, but with just 594 miles on the current reading, this truck hasn't been abused. Both the interior and exterior are in very good condition according to the seller, and it comes with a clean Texas title. This is a turnkey classic that's ready to hit the road or the show circuit. It's a true head-turner that will have people stopping you everywhere you go to ask about your truck. Cash only, no trades or payments. But for a pristine example of American trucking history like this, can you really blame them? This is the kind of vehicle that appreciates while you enjoy it. 1974 Ford Bronco, classic off-road legend looking for a new home. Here we have a true icon of American 4x4 history. A 1974 Ford Bronco U15 priced at $20,500. This first-generation Bronco represents Ford's answer to the Jeep, and they've become incredibly sought after in recent years. This example comes powered by the legendary 302 V8 engine paired with a manual transmission, the perfect combination for authentic off-road fun. According to the seller, this Bronco starts right up, which is exactly what you want to hear with a vehicle of this vintage. One of the most important features of this particular Bronco is those original uncut fenders. So many of these trucks had their fenders cut for larger tires, making unmolested examples like this increasingly rare and valuable to collectors. With just 25,000 miles showing on the odometer and a clean title that matches all the important identification points, glovebox VIN, door label, and frame, this appears to be a legitimate example with proper documentation. The seller lists the condition as good, not perfect or showroom, but honest. The listing is straightforward without excessive details, suggesting this is a solid driver-quality Bronco rather than a fully restored showpiece. For Bronco enthusiasts, this represents a chance to own an increasingly valuable piece of Ford's off-road heritage that still maintains its original character and authenticity.